Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Now this video was very highly requested and I've been meaning to get to it. I just wanted to make sure I found a decent video, and I got help with some of the translation so I can understand a little bit more than what I'm actually looking at. So yeah, this is about the Swedish Special Operations, or sort of like their SOG. I think they are pronouncing it their Särskilda Operationsgruppen. Again, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Definitely let me know. I like to pronounce it. This one, I was looking at it and it was just making my head hurt. So again, let me know how the pronunciation was. But yeah, it's a Swedish Special Operations. These guys are very serious. As y'all have been telling me, they're very awesome. They have a lot of cool equipment. They serve a very wide purpose. They can fit in a lot of different roles, and they do it very well from my understanding. They're sort of like our equivalent to Navy SEALs. And they're sort of secret squirrely in the sense that, there's not a whole lot of information about them. And that's just because, the sensitive nature of what they do and how they do it and everything, which is totally understandable. When you're talking about special operations, that's nothing new. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. But before we get into it, I'm just going to plug my merch real quick. Definitely feel free to check it out. I'll put the link in the video description. But I have a lot of cool products, from t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs. There's a bunch of different stuff. Redbubble is pretty good. I definitely swear by them because I've ordered a lot of stuff on their website and I've made designs on their website previously. But definitely check out the designs. Let me know what you guys think about them. And I really appreciate y'all supporting the channel thus far. So if you're interested in grabbing some merch, feel free. But I definitely appreciate it. And we'll get right into this video. So this is from like the actual official YouTube page, so it should be pretty legit. Okay, so I'm going to be pausing it just because this is a pretty short video and there's going to be a whole lot going on. Now, I can say firsthand that clearing out a ship is like a completely different beast from just clearing out a normal building. There's so many different nooks and crannies, so many compartments to actually clear out. There's so many places you can actually get engaged from. It's very stressful, so it needs to be a very coordinated operation. So normally you get a lot of high-speed people to be doing stuff like this. Actually boarding. A lot of anti-piracy people would do this. But yeah, like in the Marines, we have like the VBSS, which is something similar to this, but not nearly on the same level. We have our MSRT, which is what these guys are more akin to as far as like the pirate aspect of actually boarding a ship and whatnot. But it's very complicated. It can get very stressful if you don't have people who know what they're doing.
Specialförbanden har en viktig, men för många inte så välkänd roll i försvaret av Sverige. Övningarna här, de handlar om att utveckla våra marina förmågor, som infiltration under, på eller över havsytan, och om att kunna borda fartyg och att genomföra kvalificerade underrättelse- och säkerhetsoperationer. Västkusten bjuder på en väldigt specifik miljö, men också på specifika omständigheter. Här i området finns Skandinaviens största hamn, och stora delar av Sveriges utrikeshandel passerar här.
So I've noticed that they have their faces blurred out, but they also have pieces of their equipment blurred out. So I'm not sure if just some of the stuff they're using might be like experimental or something. It's just like a sensitive issue or sensitive technology. So that's pretty interesting. I'm sure these guys are going to get, top of the line stuff, like even testing some new stuff out. It would probably go to them first because they're sort of the subject matter experts as far as being able to implement that stuff and actually, needing it in certain missions. But he's sort of giving an overview of their exercise that they're doing right now, talking about how they're trying to improve their skills, stuff like infiltration, so they can do infiltration under the water and actually above, using boats and whatnot. So it's pretty cool how they're able to implement all these things together. Again, when you're talking about special operations, you have all these different roles that sort of fit a certain purpose. And when you're talking about special operations, it's not just like the guys who are going in, clearing out the buildings and clearing out the ships and whatnot. You also have a lot of intelligence functions going on inside the special operations community. And, these guys are doing a whole lot. but it's not necessarily well known to the people of Sweden. And that's just because, again, the sensitive nature of what they're doing. They're sort of there if needed, and hopefully they're not really needed too much, because if they're getting involved, it's probably going to be something pretty serious.
Inom 50 mil ifrån den plats vi nu befinner oss på så finns 70% av Skandinaviens industri och befolkning. Och här sammanstrålar flöden av väldigt många olika slag. Det gör att även en motståndare är intresserad av den här delen av Sverige. Och därför så är det viktigt för oss att planera för och träna på att lösa våra uppgifter även här.
That looks pretty sick. And I can say climbing those small ladders that they have going on there are pretty difficult, especially if you don't have someone like anchoring the bottom. That's pretty standard. You need to get someone who's really wrenching down on that ladder, or else it's going to be spinning, and by the time you get up to the top of the ship, you're like completely spun around. So those things can get pretty tricky. And he was saying that within a 500 kilometer radius, there's like 70% of Scandinavia's like population and their industries going on. So it's a big target for someone who's trying to really hurt the Scandinavian region as far as their industries and their logistics to being able to support certain operations. So it's a big target, and these guys are there to sort of fill that role of being able to protect that sort of stuff. So again, we're talking about industry. You need a lot of intelligence to understand what they're actually getting into, what the buildings actually look like. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, and you really need to do your research if you're going to go into something like that. They have some nice helmets. They actually have the same helmet that I have.
Nyckelförmågorna för oss är underrättelseinhämtning och strid, som här i marin miljö. Det gör att vi kan lösa uppgifter i stort sett var som helst, nationellt eller internationellt. Det kan handla om kvalificerade underrättelse- och säkerhetsoperationer, räddföretag, undsättning i olika former, exempelvis fritagningsoperation. Vi kan bekämpa en kvalificerad motståndare på djupet, men också tillföra förmågor till förband som redan finns på plats. Till exempel med eldledare som kan leda attackflyg. Och på det sättet så kan vi höja andra stridskrafters förmåga till strid.
Nice. Okay, so they're saying, again, he's talking about the intelligence gathering. So when you're talking about special operations, you need some very solid intel guys, because if you don't have the intelligence function, special operations is so sensitive and so critical. Everything needs to be coordinated like to the T. So you can't just go in there with gray areas. Special operations is not about going in with gray areas, going into places where there's unknowns. So they need to have that intelligence. And it's even trickier when you're talking about marine environment, because this can encompass a whole lot more, as opposed to ground things. All of a sudden you have ships and whatnots, and then you have to track down where the ships are. There's a whole lot that goes into it. And that sort of means they can stay in Sweden or in the Scandinavian region, but they can also go abroad and implement those capabilities because they have that those intelligence functions. But they also do security operations, raids, rescue missions, as well as, hostage rescue missions. So there's a whole lot that needs to be coordinated when you're talking about such a wide range of missions and roles for these guys. And in addition to that, these guys can go behind enemy lines and sort of do all the same things that they would normally do with the support from other units, just because they're so self-reliant. And if need be, they can also support units in their mission as well. I like their violence though. They got the Carl Gustavs, they got the suppressors.
Den främsta skillnaden mellan specialförband och övriga delar av Försvarsmakten, det är våra unika uppgifter. Vi kompletterar andra stridskrafter genom att tillföra militära handlingsmöjligheter. Till skillnad från de flesta konventionella stridskrafter kan vi lösa uppgifter självständigt, särskilt när man bedömer att riskerna ligger på en högre nivå än vad som normalt accepteras för övriga stridskrafter.
Yeah, so they need to be self-reliant, just because obviously what they're doing, there's a higher risk involved in these sensitive operations. So they definitely need to know what they're doing. They need to have competent individuals to be self-reliant and not necessarily have to rely on other people to bail them out of certain things. Oh yeah, these high altitude jumps are crazy to watch. It looks so cool. Of course, I got the dual tube night vision as well. Yeah, so again, this goes into them when they're talking about going behind enemy lines and performing their functions there.
Det är den omedelbara tillgänglighet som vi alltid upprätthåller. Det innebär att vi bokstavligen kan vara överallt genom att tidigt kunna utgångskupera på viktiga platser eller genom olika infiltrationsmetoder ta oss dit, även under svåra förhållanden. En motståndare måste alltid räkna med och tvingas planera för att möta svenska specialförband.
Again, there's that ladder. Yeah, these guys seem very well disciplined, and I can appreciate, you know, the fact that they need to be experts at a whole lot of different things based on what their job might ask of them. And I like the violence too. That's good. Yeah, so what he was saying at the end is because of their importance, they need to be able to respond to things very quickly, regardless of the situation behind it. They basically need to make sure the enemy knows that the Swedish Special Operations can put the heat on them in a short time span. And I think that's pretty badass the way he puts it. But again, I can appreciate that these guys are going to be doing a whole lot of different things. It's not necessarily one person who's going to be specializing in, you know, maritime stuff as well as, you know, parachuting and whatnot. There's certain roles that you can fill inside the organization, which is pretty standard throughout. But just the fact of being able to coordinate all these different entities, like people underneath the water, people on boats, people in the air, like that must be pretty disheartening for the enemy to try and plan around, you know, these guys coming in and messing up their plans. But also in the sense that their mission is going to be reactionary a lot of the time, you know, with hostage situations or what have you. These guys are also going to be relied upon. In the US, you have a bunch of different units who would handle, like you have the FBI, HRT, who would do hostage rescue sort of things. This is sort of like the Spetsnaz, how they also do hostage rescue, but they also do, you know, a wide range of special operations stuff. The U.S. has a whole bunch of different units to fill that role, but these guys seem like they do a pretty good job of handling everything. But again, a very awesome recommendation. I do appreciate all you guys sending this over. Now, I did want to upload it a little bit earlier, but one of my viewers actually recommended uploading it on June 6th, just because that's the National Day of Sweden. So, I mean, I figured it could be a little treat for all of y'all out there. But yeah, I hope you guys are waving those flags high and proud, especially knowing that these guys are there to protect your back. So again, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. Comment and let me know what you think. If you have any other recommendations, feel free to throw those in the comments section. And if you're not subscribed, definitely consider subscribing. As you guys can probably see, I'm going to be rolling out some gameplay footage as well. So if you're into that, feel free to check those videos out too. But again, I do appreciate you guys watching. So that is it for this video, and I will see y'all in the next one.